Hi guys, my name is Alex. I am a sex coach. Welcome to the video. Today we are going to answer the question that everyone has been asking: is good sex mainly mental? And I am here to tell you yes. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So for my 5 regular viewers, you guys know the answer to this question, right? Is good sex mainly mental? Yes, of course it is. I talk about it all the time. You could even say that I harp on it and I dwell on it, and it's an obsession of mine to just constantly tell you guys that good sex is mainly mental. But for the 5 new viewers that might watch this video one day, I'm here to go over this article done by poosh.com, or poosh, whatever, I don't know how to say it, push maybe, but the article is titled, "Is Good Sex Mainly Mental?" So someone sent me this article, thought that I probably would agree with it, and so we're going to go over everything that they highlight in their article, explaining if good sex is mainly mental, and then we'll go through that and figure it out and use our big brains, our huge, massive, veiny, just throbbing brains. I'm going to use mine as a sex coach and go through this article. What am I talking about? Let's get into it. Is good sex mainly mental is the question we are asking. So it's a pretty short article, so that it begins that there are countless, physical things that we do during sex, and it's basically saying that, a good sexual experience isn't just a string of those physical things put together. It's not an equation where you put in this oral technique, this fingering technique, this penetrative technique, and then those 3 add up to equal amazing orgasm every time. It doesn't work that way, right? Because in different situations, the same physical touch, the same physical contact is going to lead to different things based on their mental state. So, is good sex mainly mental? Kind of, but we'll see more later. They also go to say that sex for men is primarily physical, which I would disagree with. I think for men it is still primarily mental. Good sex, sexual pleasure I should say, is primarily mental. I'm not saying that we are having sex in our minds like some kind of sci-fi experience where we're connecting. We're not touching, but we're just kind of like telepathically getting each other off. I am fingering you with my mind. It's not like that. I'm saying the pleasure in sex is mostly determined by mental factors. Not what is going on downstairs, but what's going on upstairs. That is what we mean. And I think for men, the misconception is that I think it's easier for men to get the mental stimulation, to be mentally stimulated through sex, because things like what we see, our visual stimulus, those kind of things are more effective in turning us on, getting us aroused, than they are necessarily in women. So maybe you could argue that men are more physically based, but good sex, sexual pleasure is going to be a mental determined thing. So let's move on the article. The first section is feeling sexy and confident. For starters, if a woman isn't feeling sexy herself, it's much more difficult for her to feel sexual. Sexual feelings and feeling sexy go hand in hand. Even though one is a secure feeling of confidence in her appeal, the other is external stimuli. This is why affirmations are important in the bedroom. It's crucial to make sure that our own or our female partner's confidence is supported, especially when not initially feeling in the mood. I would have to agree with pretty much everything they said in there. I always say every single day of my life, and in pretty much every video, that insecurity is the bane of sexual pleasure. If you're in a sexual situation, imagine a sexual situation with someone and you feel like they're judging you, and you're feeling insecure, and you're feeling like my body doesn't look good, or I'm not performing well, because a lot of people have performance anxieties, and those things are normal. But what we can do to alleviate those things, to get rid of those insecurities, that is going to determine the pleasure of the sex far more than just what you're doing downstairs. No amount of amazing physical technique is ever going to alleviate insecurities automatically. No matter how good it feels, if their mind isn't in it because they're thinking about these things, then it's not going to lead anywhere. So affirmations are good, compliments are good, and again, I would say partner selection. So have sex with someone you trust, you are comfortable with, and I think they even hit on this in the future. So let's keep reading. The next section is feeling at ease. Many people say that sex is a great way to relax, and while that post-orgasm feeling may leave us feeling floaty and ready to drift off, it's difficult to get there if we are feeling tense. And they kind of go on into saying that if you are not relaxed, then you are not going to be able to be fully pleasured and fully immersed in that experience. And that kind of goes along with the same lines of the previous thing about the insecurity. If you're stressing out about how you're performing, what you look like, how you feel, the physical interaction you're having, if you are stressed out about those things and you're not relaxed, then you're not going to be in the moment, present in that experience, and able to just kind of let go and release and have that orgasm. You're going to be all tensed up. You're not going to be able to experience the pleasure or reach orgasm ever. So it's just kind of saying that you need to be relaxed. I would say this goes back to what I said previously, where select the right partner. Have sex with someone you feel comfortable with. Sex puts you in an extremely vulnerable position, a position that basically no other thing in life will put you in. No other situation in life are you touching each other's genitals. You're not completely naked. And so it's a weird situation, honestly. It's a unique situation, and that unique situation can arouse a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. I know I'm harping on this point, but again, feeling relaxed, feeling not insecure, feeling comfortable in that experience is extremely important when it comes to sexual quality. Moving on, being mindful. Interesting. So sexual mindfulness goes hand in hand with regular daily mindfulness. When we are present with the task at hand, we are able to become immersed in it. The same goes for sexual desire and pleasure. So often our minds are elsewhere. One can imagine that this makes it incredibly hard to reach climax. It's basically what I've been saying. If you are not present in the experience, and your mind's wandering, it could be the insecure thing. It could just be because you have something on your mind. You're thinking about something else. And so in order to combat this, if we want to provide the best sexual experiences for our partners, you just have to incorporate different things to kind of pull your partner back in the experience. It's not enough to just thrust away at their private parts. You need to give them auditory things. You need to give them other touches. You need to give them other sensations. So dirty talk, I would say, is probably the most effective form of this, the most effective way to kind of bring your partner back out of their head into the experience. And you can do this in form of questions, asking them, you like that, don't you? It can be yes or no questions like that, but that kind of forces them to respond, and that forces them to kind of recenter themselves and think, do I like this? Yeah, okay. And then they start expressing themselves. So that would be, I think, the easiest, most effective way to pull your partner back in the experience. And you should dirty talk throughout an entire experience, because that is just going to enhance that mental aspect. It's going to be arousing. It's going to increase the passion and the immersion in that experience. All right, the next and final section is create longing. So they basically link to a study that explores that female sexual desire is driven by psychological longing for union and closeness, which is then expressed physically. So to make it easier to understand, basically what they are saying is the anticipation, the expectation of the sex is part of what drives the pleasure. So basically what they are saying is leverage kind of teasing, leverage the arousal building phase of sex. So spend more time in foreplay, maybe sext throughout the day, kind of flirt with them throughout the day, get their mind primed for the sexual experience, get them wanting it, and then if they want it a lot, it makes kind of the actual interaction that happens, the actual sex, it makes it that much more explosive and powerful and amazing. And I completely agree with this. As my 5 regular viewers would know, I say this all the time, that building anticipation, building arousal is an extremely important thing to do, especially for for women in sex, they need that time to kind of build that tension. And you can do this through teasing. You can kind of flirt with them throughout the day, extend foreplay. You can even start foreplay and then stop and do something else. And your partner's going to be like, what are you doing? I want sex. And you're just basically saying, no, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. And then they're going to be anticipating it even more, thinking about it even more, and it's just going to make that actual experience, when it does happen, explosive and amazing. They're going to be immersed, they're going to be passionate, and they're going to kind of forego all of those other things, the insecurity and everything else, because they're going to want it so badly that they're not going to think about anything else at that point. They just want the sex. And that's what you should be going for every time, and then incorporating that dirty talk throughout the experience to keep them invested into it. Keep them present in that experience. Make sure their mind doesn't ever wander. So, is good sex mainly mental? Yeah, it pretty much is. I definitely want to tell you guys that what you're doing physically, it really doesn't matter that much. You don't have to be the most amazing physical stimulus producer of all time. You don't have to know the best way to stimulate their G-spot, the best fingering technique, the best oral technique. What you need to do is just know how to stimulate them, and you can do that just by figuring it out or talking to them, asking your partner what they like, and then just doing that. But it doesn't have to be that special. What makes sex special and what makes it good and what makes the pleasure just go through the roof is what you are adding to the sexual experience mentally. The dirty talk, the psychological factors, the mood you guys are in, and all of that stuff. It's mentally based, and all of that stuff is really the driving force of good sex. So if you want to be better at sex, first of all, watch my channel more, and second of all, focus more on that psychological part. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. New videos come out every weekday, so definitely consider subscribing if you want more amazing tips from a sex coach like me. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Truly appreciate it, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.